Welcome to the Phoenix Prosperity Podcast, where wealth meets legacy. Join your host, Tim Fergestad, as we explore the journeys of Phoenix's finest to success and beyond.
Hello, this is Tim Fergestad. Thank you for joining us. I'm very pleased to have Chris Fellows with me here today. Chris is the CEO and founder of Bold Street, has over 25 years of real estate and technology experience. Bold Street helps real estate agents close more sales, serving real estate investors and providing investment valuations to their family clients to better understand the financial impact of home ownership. Welcome to the show, Chris.
All right. Thank you. Great to be here.
Excellent. So, I'm really excited about this. Right? I do real estate investments, so I love this stuff. So I'm very excited to talk shop with you here, Chris. You want to give us a quick snapshot of what you do, where your business is at?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So the past 3 years, I've been running Bold Street, and it's been a great journey. We really came a lot from the institutional space, but of course, when the interest rates went up, that kind of changed the whole landscape of who was buying, who was selling, and how real estate moved. And we were really, I think, a lot of people that were deeper in the industry were surprised that the one segment that continued to buy and sell throughout this whole past 2 years have been real estate investors. For a number of different reasons, but and then we worked with a lot of real estate agents, and the ones that were working with investors just continued to do fine, while obviously a lot of other agents have been really struggling. And so we took a lot of our kind of background and knowledge and built a platform for real estate agents, but the ones that already work with investors, to be much more efficient with finding and analyzing deals. And then those people that see the opportunity, but kind of, felt like it was just too much of a hurdle to get into working with investors, we kind of made it easier with the platform. So we've been doing that, and we've really had a big kind of growth focus for the past couple months. And that's been, it's been fun riding that journey.
Okay. Yeah, that's great stuff. So bigger picture, real quick, you're based here in Phoenix.
Yes.
Most of your clients are here in Phoenix?
Probably the largest segment are based out of Phoenix, but we do work with people across the country.
Okay. And this has been a booming, strong market. It continues to grow, great job growth. People keep moving here. So you're right. There's a lot of real estate agents here, and most real estate agents do not, they're traditional agents, right? They help families buy and sell their homes, and that's about it. They don't see a lot of the bigger picture, right? There are some who are really dialed in and good at it, but for the most part, you're helping a lot of people. There's thousands of agents here in the Valley. So can you talk about that challenge a little bit?
Sure. Yeah, no, I think that's a really good point. And we talk about, for real estate agents, that we're in really like a blockbuster Netflix moment. Most of us, hopefully most of us are old enough. We kind of remember Blockbuster. If you wanted a movie, you had to get in your car and you had to drive. And then, there's really probably about 12 movies that were all the blockbusters, and there was like 50 or 100 films, but you didn't have a big selection. And fun fact, there was a time when Netflix offered to sell to Blockbuster, and Blockbuster laughed them out of the room. And of course, now Blockbuster is no more. And now there's this whole ecosystem. There's Netflix and Hulu and YouTube and all that. And it's because the dynamics change. Well, the same dynamic shift is happening in residential real estate. And, 20 years ago, 1 out of 10 transactions were with an investor. Now it's 1 out of 3.
Wow.
And yet there's no education, no software, no tools for real estate agents to really maximize what's essentially a blue ocean opportunity. And what we found is really actually everybody's a real estate investor, because even family buyers, it's the biggest purchase most people are making. That is an investment. And real estate agents haven't been set up to give people investment valuations. So the ones that, are learning this, I think it's really exciting, and they're learning how to actually grow sales in this part of the business. And it's a whole nother kind of avenue. And I think across the board, people, family buyers are excited to kind of learn about I might not live here forever, and what could I rent this house out for? So I think it's a fun shift to watch real estate investing kind of really take off.
Okay, excellent. And are you marketing this or providing this as a service to individual agents or to brokerage houses or whole groups? How do you package it?
Yeah, both actually. So we work with individual agents, and they kind of, most agents are, kind of 1099 individuals and kind of running their own business underneath a brokerage. We do work with larger, brokerages like EXP, and that, when we work kind of at that level. And then there's some brokerages that they pay for the tool for their agents. And those are usually very investor focused shops. But yeah, across the board, we work with different folks.
Okay. I'm still a licensed agent here in Arizona. I have been for many years. I've never been a traditional agent. I got my license and I hang it with Realty One Group. And I wanted to flip and hold some plexes here in the market originally. And as I started looking into them more, I didn't like a lot of the pockets where there's not a lot of that type of product here in Phoenix compared to other markets, right? Mm-hmm. Same with kind of the apartments that I focus on now, more the commercial multifamily space. You go out east and there's properties of all different sorts of sizes everywhere, but it's a little more of a unique area here in Phoenix. But
for sure,
there's thousands of agents at Realty One Group, for example. Is that something that you could you've entertained trying to get some sort of a affiliate agreement with some of these bigger groups?
Yeah, and there's different. Each of the brokerages kind of have their own avenue. And so each of them we're kind of bit by bit, kind of working with different ones. So we work kind of really closely with EXP. We have worked with Realty One as well. So a lot of times some of the brokerages will bring us in and we'll do a presentation in front of the agents to help them kind of learn more about it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. And what's the biggest challenge there? Is it because you're right. There's a lot of agents just sort of their hands in the pockets, kicking rocks right now because, transaction volume is down. What are the challenges in serving or educating traditional agents to the investing space?
Yeah, good point. Because I think a lot of agents, most agents get into the business because at heart, they're salespeople. Mm-hmm. They're like, I'm helping people buy, sell homes, and real estate investing has a different take. And that's where you get the math part of it and the spreadsheets and knowing what a cap rate is and, how does cash on cash return work and all that kind of stuff, I think can be daunting for agents that got into it for the sales part.
Right.
And traditionally, and so sometimes I think the biggest piece is agents just saying to themselves, "Oh, I can't do this because I don't know what a cap rate is, and I'm not good at math."
Some limiting beliefs, maybe some math barriers. Yeah,
very much so. And because I think a lot of people that were our agents had a picture in their head of what that was going to be like, but residential real estate's been changing so much that, now you're kind of like, oh, I have to get into working with investors. And that's really, I think what we really try to do with the platform is make it as easy as possible. So we had a real kind of crawl, walk, run piece. And so that's the piece, I think that's the biggest piece we struggle with is just in the presentation and the classroom kind of being like, hey, you can actually do this. And here's how it can actually be an easy way to doing it. So I think they get that. And when you can actually see, hey, actually, I can just start working with the family buyers I'm working with right now. And all I have to do is just provide them an investment valuation. And wow, that's just provided so much more value for them. So,
okay. That's an interesting point. Are they not just their traditional clients, but are they for a single family primary residence, but are they leveraging their networks to showcase this new aspect of their services and getting business from them who are now like, I always wondered or if that was an option, and now that they have some tools that they can help their clients share, is that a big avenue, or is it, are they using that to recruit investors separately, right? Is it a new marketing strategy for them to be an investor separately from their primary residence sort of role?
Well, so the folks that already, are kind of veterans of working with investors, they definitely use the tool as an advertising kind of tool. So they're like, hey, work with me because you're going to get access to this platform. And so they use that to grow their investor base. I think the previous piece we were talking about is agents that haven't traditionally worked with investors. I think what they've been most excited about is really that mental shift of being like, hey, I already actually work with investors that might and classic example, somebody helped, we had an agent, they helped a dentist buy a home like 5 years ago, and they were able to go back to that person who they normally never would have talked to again, and never thought that person would be continued business, but went back to somebody they already worked with and was like, hey, have you thought about building generational wealth? And it was like, oh yeah, actually it had always wanted to like buy residential real estate, and that opened up a new buyer to actually start working. And then that person's going to become a repeat buyer. And so I think seeing those types of victories and wins has been certainly great for us. And then, to watch, agents on the platform experiencing that and growing their business that way.
Okay. Is there a lot of competition in this space?
So
there is in real estate, obviously, and stuff, but specifically your niche of providing investment tools to agents.
There's not actually, right? We're the only folks that do that. There are tools, I think, for investors, but there's no tools to really help agents really find those deals, match them to the right investor, and the whole marketing side of it is missing. So we've been really excited to kind of bring this new product out.
Okay, that's sort of back to my other question. So are people rebranding themselves as an investment agent specifically, and are you helping them with that?
100%. So yeah, I think being able to, for agents to be able to say, hey, I'm an investor friendly agent, that, starts to just saying that little phrase starts opening doors. And so we help on the marketing side with, kind of websites and AI marketing and all that kind of stuff. And then just kind of, the tool set around, hey, brand yourself this way, and here's some of the key things. And it's it's opening doors because there's not a lot of competition, relatively, for agents in the investor space. So they're able to go into this working with investors, which is kind of a greenfield for them.
All right. Yeah, I'm selling one right now, but I'm not doing that. I have an agent this is in another market in another state that I'm selling one of our single family rentals right now. And yeah, when you find a good investor friendly one, they can be gold. They can be a very pleasant experience to have a competent who knows what I'm looking for and so forth, and how to turn the property better and so forth.
Yeah, it's a great example. I'm going to take that little snippet and repeat it. But yeah, it's the great investor agents are like gold, and it's a great example of you have a property in a different market, and so a lot of people might want to buy or sell in Phoenix and not be living here, and they need that person locally.
Yep. Big boon. What sort of tips would you give agents who are interested in getting into this space?
I think the biggest tip is, kind of be open and jump into it. There's so much opportunity. I think a lot of agents experience there's many different types of investors, and I think there's a stereotypical investor we have in our mind, which is kind of the scrappy do it yourself kind of one. And a lot of agents struggle with that because they'll get a lot of text messages like, hey, what's this, and lowball offers. And it can feel, I've heard this again and again from agents, that can feel distracting at best and annoying at worst. And what we found from some of these great investor agents is they found a way to actually monetize that segment of the business. And so I think just understanding like, hey, if you're struggling or want to just do more sales, you already have the clients. They're right there. The buyers and sellers are reaching out to you, or you've worked with them in the past. And so know that if you want to close more deals, this is an amazing opportunity, and you don't have to go through, 9 or 12 months of learning cycles to make money on it. Like it could be as it could be extremely close to you to do just that one more deal, let alone setting up a whole repeat business funnel.
Right. And again, particularly in the right markets and Phoenix, there's a lot of people. The affordability gap is pretty legit for a lot of people right now. And so some people want to live in a home, but they can't afford it. And so investors fill that gap by being able to buy the home and then rent it out.
100%. Yeah. I think we really based our business in Phoenix because it's one of the top 3 investor centric markets. So even in this market where there's affordability problems nationwide, there's still transactions getting done.
Okay. Can you speak to the software you guys provide a little bit more, please?
Yeah, sure. So it's a couple we have a kind of the core platform, and that piece is, you can find and analyze investment deals. So we take all the MLS data and it automatically scores those properties according to different investment criteria of different investors. Okay. So it gives very clear, kind of like green, this works, red, it does.
The easy button.
Yes. Yes. The easy button. Exactly.
Boom.
And that's what we've really worked to try to make it as easy as possible. Okay. So, it does a lot of drip marketing. So you get a new investor, you put them in the system, it sends very targeted deals to them. So you don't even have to do anything. And then when that person responds, then you're dealing with somebody that's active in the market. So it does a lot of the nurturing side of things. And it allows you to really try to create that repeat business funnel. Okay. And then we've got, AI marketing that also works to help them kind of get out there.
On sort of the analysis side, obviously it's up to the investors to ultimately do their due diligence and all that for any deals. This is just to help the agents get the investors the type of things they're looking for easier and let them do the final analysis. But does your software have any sort of rental comps or area stuff to make that a little easier for the agent to understand, or is that all on the investor?
Yeah, great question. So we do, as part of that scoring piece, we kind of predetermine what those rental comps are. Okay. So we're not just using kind of like a Zestimate that's, some value that you can't stand behind. We actually pull out rental comps. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, the agent knows best. That's why agents are so great at, that local expertise. So we come up with the comps, but you can actually adjust those comps if you want. Okay. And that comes up with the rental value. As soon as you have the rental value, now we can come up with cap rates and all that stuff and, kind of compare that to what the investor's criteria is.
Right. Awesome. Love it. Yeah. Very cool. So it sounds like things are going well for you. Now I have to ask about you. Do you personally have your own rental properties?
I do. Yeah, actually, I do have rental properties in Florida, and Chicago, and Hawaii, and just kind of still have to get into the Phoenix market.
Okay. And was this sort of your origin story then? Is how you got into can you speak to a little bit about how that happened?
Yeah, actually, that's one of our agents that we work with. He has a podcast called The Accidental Realtor, and his premise is that nobody finds their way into real estate on purpose. It's always by accident. So that happened to me too. And the previous business, I was, doing a lot of technical consulting work and accidentally ended up working for one of the largest real estate investment trusts. And really that's kind of the avenues. Found out how do you actually do underwriting at like an enterprise grade level. And then I was like, hey, I should buy I'm working for this big company. They buy homes. I'm learning how to do this. I should do this myself. And so I ended up, using some of the techniques and looking across the market. And then I found this one property in Jacksonville, Florida. And like most investors that are first starting, they get a lot caught in analysis paralysis. So I'm like, should I buy it? Should I not buy it? And then one day I was, looking at the map of the place and I saw this big boulevard that was running near it. And the area was called Tallulah Falls. And of course, my daughter's name is Tallulah. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do it.
Oh, wow.
And so I bought that first property. And then from there, it got me over the line. And then I started, buying some other properties, over the years.
Okay. Very cool. Very cool. And how big is your team right now working on I'm sorry, it's Bold Street.
Bold Street. Yeah. So we have about 7 people total. Some folks here in Phoenix, and then we got a couple folks in India, and then down in Chile, in Santiago, Chile as well.
Okay.
Global
and
team.
What's been sort of the biggest challenge for you in setting up Bold Street?
We've been through got quite the ringer the last 2 years in real estate. And so it's really been, understanding what do people need in the market. And that's what really had us build this platform.
Sure.
And then it was all about, how do we make it as usable as possible so that we really could create that crawl, walk, run, and trying to determine, what are all the features that, are easiest for realtors to, start growing sales. And how do you, so at the end of the day, I think most people would say the hardest thing right now is for anybody, including a tech company, is how do you help people actually close more deals? And so that's been the focus. And so I think we've figured it out because people are starting to really close deals. So that's been great.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great. Those testimonials would be awesome. You can just go out to all these different groups of agents and say, look, this is within this many months, people reached out to their already existing networks of clients and managed to increase their transaction volume. That's
exactly. Because it's just, huge. One more transaction makes a big difference. Every transaction makes a difference. So,
Yep. So, do you have any initiatives or plans for the next 12 months?
We're really focused now on just, widening the number of agents on the platform, widening the number of investors on the platform from, all different segments of that market, also focus.
When you say investors, you mentioned sort of like growing the number of agents, but also the number of investors. So you're working directly with investors as well as agents?
We are, because it's not just the software, it's also kind of an ecosystem around the platform. So we have some institutional players, for example, that are looking for our agents to buy for them. We have some larger kind of wholesale networks, because a lot of agents might have listings that can't really be brought, retail, but those folks still have pressures to sell. So how do you do that? And then, of course, there's individual investors that are looking for that golden investor agent. So, so our agents have also come to us and said, hey, we need to find more investor clients. Like, how do we drive more of that? How do we drive more transactions? So there's the software, but then the ecosystem around it. So we've been working on that, and growing that has been really helpful for the agents. Sure.
So I guess you're pushing forward on a few different fronts there.
Yeah, it's kind of a little bit of that, we have to grow the number of agents, and then that also, it's like grow the number of investors. So it's kind of happening at the same time.
Okay, great stuff. So if people want to learn more about you or Bold Street, what should they do?
Please just go to boldstreet.ai. Check it out. If you can reach out to us, info@boldstreet.ai, or of course you can always reach out to me personally, Chris at boldstreet.ai.
All right. Excellent. This is all great stuff. I think I could talk to you forever about all the details of how the software works and all that. I'm going to have to definitely check it out myself. Is there anything else you wanted to mention? Anything besides Bold Street?
Oh, no, I really appreciate it. I love, we were talking a little earlier before the show, and just how, networking is just so, it's such a crucial business element. And I think certainly in real estate, it's all about relationships. So it's been great meeting a lot of different people. And if I can support in any way, if I'm connecting anybody, I'm always open to people reaching out to network.
Amen. All right. Well, it's great to see more information as a service for the real estate community here in the Valley. So I think that's awesome. Thank you, Chris.
Great. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for listening and watching. Thank you, Chris Fellows, for joining me today. We appreciate you sharing your story and insights into success and impact in Phoenix.
Inspired by our guests? Visit PhoenixProsperityPodcast.com/guest and join us on the show and share your success story with Tim. The spotlight awaits.